you lie, you get an Article 15, that's game over.
That's it.
That's a career ender. So,
Right. Right.
luckily that the biggest thing for the military for me is that it, made me realize that it's not worth lying. So just tell the truth and just, hopefully you're not going to get punished too bad. But no, I had a great time. I know the Japanese side of the story kind of got summed up, but really, I mean, there's a lot more to it. A lot more things happening.
Let's go back there, Shane. Let's go back there. So you talk about this train. First and foremost, was that the bullet train or is that just a slow train?
The slow train. I never did the bullet train because it was just more expensive, and I never had to use it.
All right. So you get out into the countryside, and we're going to come back. Don't lose that thought. You get out into the countryside. What were some of the neatest places that you got to experience? What was your favorite place?
Well, you jogged my memory about fertility festival that Japan has every year.
Okay.
It's a town. There's a town that they have a big wooden vagina and a big wooden penis at one end of each town.
Can't beat big wooden vaginas and penises, can you?
This is the craziest thing, definitely at that time of my life, I had ever freaking seen. So we had heard about it. The base was like, hey, come take the bus, like a 2.5-hour drive on the bus to this town to celebrate fertility festival. We heard what it was about, and the Japanese people told us, and we laughed. So we're like, no, let's not take the bus. It's too stuffy. So we got a van from a staff sergeant he raced dirt bikes, and so he had taken out all the back seats of his little Japanese van to put his two dirt bikes in there, and so there's nothing in there. So we put coolers and milk crates back there, and I was like, I'm driving because I don't want to drink.
Gosh.
I was like, I'm driving because I don't want to sit back.
I'm picturing y'all piled into this van, Shane. Oh my God, with milk crates and 10. Yep. You guys had 10 people piled into this van? Holy cow. Yeah. All right, continue on. Sorry.
There's an assistant chief in Guam. His name is Mark Berry. But when he was with me in Japan, he was like greenhorn, man. He was straight out of fire school. I think not even 6 months. We're like, Mark, you're coming with us. And then, of course, his two little buddies that came with him from fire school, and we had them on the milk crates. And I remember I would do brake check, and Mark and the two other young firefighters would fly off the milk crates, and like they were laughing, and they were good humor about it. And then the rest of the guys, they were sitting on coolers that was surrounding the van, filled with beer and food. And so we finally get to the town that had the fertility festival, and it's people running around with all kinds of candy and food shaped as penises and dildos, and it was just nuts. So we finally make it to the center of town, and we hear like, hey ho, hey ho, and we look down the street, and there's this ginormous wooden erect penis coming right at us, and it's like 30 Japanese guys carrying this big ass penis coming right at us, and they got it on their shoulder, and they're ho 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 ho, the whole crowd's getting into it, and finally they get in front of this temple and they erect the penis in front of everybody, and everyone cheers, and then they started passing out cups of white stuff, and they gave us these cups of white, and we're like pass. We'll pass on this one. We're not going to drink the white stuff in a cup when there's an erect penis nearby. We're good on that. So, so everybody's pretty much. Well, it's not nobody really got blasted drunk, but everyone was just having a good time. I didn't drink because I was driving because I didn't want to sit on milk crates. And then the drive home, everyone was. By the time we got home, it was about 11 o'clock at night, and we just all had to be working the next morning. But, that was, I think, there was a lot of trips out at nighttime. The downtown party area of Tokyo is called Roppongi, and there's all kinds of crazy clubs, and there's a Harvard Cafe, and, and so Friday, Saturday nights, whatever night we was off, we'd all load up and walk down to the train station, like 20 minutes from the base. You get on the train, 40-minute train ride to downtown Tokyo, and just, get out and go party. I was there 99 to 2000, when the world was supposed to end, when 2000 rolled over.
Sure.
Here it is. There's like 20, 25 of us firefighters all in downtown Tokyo. And the streets are so packed that you can't even walk on the sidewalk. Everyone's walking in the middle of the street in between cars. You're packing yourself in the clubs. People are drinking on the streets. It was crazy. Like, the world's going to end. You might as well be down in downtown Tokyo, partying it up, having a good time. So,
oh my gosh.
Everyone, it's crazy. As much craziness there was in the fire department because the Japanese love to drink. Everyone kept their wits about them, and everyone looked out for everyone. If you have that one drunk fireman, everyone would get together and say, "All right, let's pick him up and take him home and put him to bed." And so everyone really, we never had any issues. Everyone looked out for each other. So that was, another great thing about the fire department. Black, white, Muslim, Christian, it didn't matter. We all looked out for each other. It's the brotherhood, the sisterhood. So,
it's that work hard, play hard adage, and I think we really stick to that. And especially when you're overseas, and especially when you're on a short tour or even an assignment on an island like that in Japan, it's really a family, you really develop that out. And by the way, here on the Honor Across Arms podcast, our guest is Shane CRONLEY today. And I know all our listeners are actually still looking up the fertility festival in Japan, taking a look at the pictures of the big erect penises and the white cups full of stuff, right?
That's right.
Maybe if we can get them back here. But yeah, it's that family atmosphere. It's that really cohesive unit that you're coming together and all serving for the greater good. And that's a huge part of what we do when we're overseas on those assignments. And man, I can't even imagine what that had been like. What's the countryside of Japan like? Is it, is it city? Is it country? Is it a little bit of both? What's it like?
Well, it's my understanding that technically 17% of the country is livable. I guess what they mean by that is flat land where they can build buildings. But, people build houses on the side of the hill along with the rice paddies and everything. So, the countryside is just beautiful. And speaking of the 2,000 characters in their language, the Japanese city firefighter would have trouble talking to a country Japanese person. And it's not like north and south, here in America. It's, from what I understood, it was like almost, not necessarily, but almost kind of like two different languages. One word may have two different meanings. Just depends on who's talking. If the city Japanese says something, the country Japanese would look at him like, huh? And then the city Japanese would have to, explain a little bit more. The reason why I wanted to camp, me and a couple of the other firefighters, we wanted to find a place to camp off base.
Nice.
And so we took one of the Japanese firefighters with us. And we're like, hey, can you just come with us to translate? And he's like, okay. Of course, he's kind of scared that, we're going to cause a ruckus and all that. And we just wanted to go camping,
sure,
stuff like that. And so we found an area to go camp at. And he talked to the owner, but he said, man, it was kind of really hard it was difficult to talk to him because, and that's when we learned, it's kind of two different languages in the same country in a sense. So kind of two different ways of talking. But we did a night. We camped out a couple times when we were there just to do it. Just to get away from the base.
Now,
get away.
Were you guys fishing at all? Were you doing anything? Is it just going out and camping and having a big time?
The Japanese coastline is not like the Gulf Coast. The Gulf Coast has got one of the beautiful beaches in the world. The Japanese coastline, honestly, I only stepped the ocean. I only stepped in what is that? The Pacific. I only stepped in the Pacific Ocean a couple of times. Because the coastline, it's like dark gray, like a dark colored sand.
Sure.
It wasn't really, as far as I knew, it wasn't that popular of people going to the beaches. So I never really did it.
Well, you're spoiled down there in the Gulf Coast, on that Emerald Coast. There's no doubt about it. Today we're joined by Shane CRONLEY here on the Honor Cross Arms podcast. Shane, I hate to close it up with you, man, but I just want to say thanks so much for being our guest on the second part of this podcast. What a phenomenal way to close out.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me on. I hope people get, if they're not in the military, you go experience it because it is a good time.
Absolutely, brother. It teaches us what we need to be good stewards of the country, good stewards of the land, and good stewards to people. Shane CRONLEY, thanks so much, brother. Really appreciate you and your service to this country and who you are as a person. We appreciate you being here on the Honor Cross Arms podcast. I'm Joshua Littrell signing off. Shane, take care, and thank you all for listening.
Line over there, send the word over there, that the Yanks are coming, the drums coming everywhere. So prepare, say a prayer, send the word to beware. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over there, over there.